One of the most rewarding parts of the last school counseling position that I had was the creation of a leadership program for eighth grade students. Now, originally this was based in the Capturing Kids' Hearts Teen Leadership course, but I rapidly recognized that this was not what my intention was in regards to finding a way to teach students about leadership. And so this was a one section special, so to say, and it was important to me from the very beginning to make sure that this course represented what all our students look like. And so I advocated for students of color, who were definitely a minority in this particular school, to be a part of this program. Well, continuing on, as I developed this course, I recognized I wanted these students who came from a suburban background, pretty sheltered for the most part, to recognize some of the issues that the society that they were going to be functioning adults in were experiencing. And so this was my first experience in working in an area of systemic issues. For this course, students were introduced to the idea of systemic food insecurity. And so they did research from a global to a local level to where they understood how systemic hunger was, and that it wasn't something that just took place across an ocean. It was something that took place in their own communities. And ultimately, the work that these students did led to a presentation at a multinational corporation from which they were able to request and receive funding for a local service organization that provided weekend food for our students. Now, how does this relate to our module? Well, it certainly does, because we're going to be talking about systemic change. And it was my hope that as students began to understand the concept of systemic, they would take this away with them. So for every experience I was able to provide for our students, whether it be a field trip, a guest speaker, or an experiential learning activity, I urged them to have tie-togethers and takeaways. So what did they have from this particular experience that tied together with what they already learned? And then what did they take away from this specific experience? I can remember standing on the bus outside the school and processing with these students before they went back in to their everyday normal eighth grade routine. And so for this module, I want you to do the same. I want you to consider what you've tied together thus far from your experiences as a student, perhaps as an educator, perhaps as a parent, from what you've learned so far in this and other courses here at Grand Valley. And what will you take away for the work you'll continue to do in our program, your group project, your philosophy of school counseling, and what you will take away that will inform your practice as a school counselor for decades to come?